Hello everybody, this is Maniac4Bricks, also known as Joey, and I have a lot of random memories that jog around in my head on an almost daily basis. But some of them are a little less clear to me from my childhood and have been jogging around for many years. Sometimes I'm able to find some kind of lead on them, and other times, not so much. There's only some vague memory of it that gets stuck in place, almost like a snapshot that I don't know how to build around it or explain it any further when researching it online. And so I've created this video series to help out with any of those kinds of memories of all different kinds of things. Whether it's events that I've attended, locales that I've been to, mostly in the northern New Jersey area, any TV shows that I've watched or programming that was on TV channels that I watched growing up, or any products that I've played with. It could be toys, games, whatever was around me when I was a kid. So hopefully this video series will keep some clarity on those things, and hopefully the video spread of this memory will actually help other people who may remember this, who may have documentation about it, or has some kind of lead as to where it can go. I do appreciate all the help and support as I go through the random parts of my memory which come up almost on a daily basis. Thank you for joining me, and now on to today's video. Our first one that I'd like to talk about is something that's been rattling my head for a long time and has been very difficult for me to explain or find anyone else who understands it. This is a Nickelodeon stop-motion board game bumper from somewhere between the late 1990s and early 2000s. I was born in 1995, so at best I remember this right at the end of the 90s and the early parts of the 2000s. I don't recall it any further than, I want to say, 2005 or so. I think by that point it would have been phased out and other programming and bumpers would have been used by Nickelodeon. This was a stop-motion board game that took place somewhere between commercials, as a bumper normally would, and as far as I remember, had very dim lighting. It wasn't completely illuminated as far as the whole board game in any given camera shot. There were only a couple fixed angles here and there of certain game pieces that were moving around, sometimes other objects on the sides of the board game that would come out and interact with it in some way, kind of like on a computer board game, which I remember playing some of as a kid. I don't remember the exact pieces themselves or the colors or everything, but the board game Bonkers, something that I hadn't played until many years after this commercial aired, reminded me a lot of that. Maybe something about the claymation nature of that board game reminded me of the stop-motion nature of the bumper. This was something that was actually using a lot of different kinds of stop-motion, so the claymation is very possible, but it had some action figures associated with it. So I don't know exactly which ones were used or by how much. I only remember that it was dimly lit as pieces were moving across the board. There may have been some fun music playing. I want to say something in the vein of Bobby's World. Not that Bobby's World theme itself, but something very light and whimsy, cartoonish if you may, for a cartoon bumper. I don't remember this lasting much longer than maybe 2 minutes. I want to say it felt like a longer bumper than most other ones that were on Nickelodeon at the time. Enough that it felt like you actually were going along with some kind of board game. Like there was an actual way of understanding what pieces were competing with others, what interactions there were on the board itself, and if anyone was a clear winner. I don't know for sure. This was not a real board game as far as I can tell. I have never seen a Nickelodeon board game that had this similar aesthetic to it. So as far as I know, it was just made for that programming block or bumper. And I haven't really been able to find any leads online to clarify about this. I've looked through countless commercial compilations on YouTube between the 90s and early 2000s, and unfortunately has not turned up yet. So if there are any more information that you find about this, even if you have some recollection of a board game similar to this as a bumper from Nickelodeon, then I'd love to hear more about it, and hopefully by some point be actually able to watch it again. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again very soon.